Episode 6, Don't Risk It TV. I'm Mick.
And I'm Naomi.
Today we're going to talk about the changes to Liquor Control Reform Act 1998 in the state of Victoria.
Yep, and we're going to go through some amendments in regards to that. Some of them which actually came into effect yesterday,
13th of September. Yep.
So this will affect lots of parents in Victoria and minors in regards to private events and also liquor outlets. Some of them include the serving of alcohol to a minor on a licensed premises will not be permitted under any circumstances, so that's changed. Also, the supply of alcohol to a minor by an adult in a private residence will be subject to further restrictions and conditions and responsible supervision. And in addition to that, alcohol must not be delivered to a minor.
So, I mean, for years, realistically, there was that exemption in the Liquor Control Reform Act that a minor could actually drink alcohol while partaking of a meal with a family in a licensed venue, a bistro, something like that. But as of yesterday, 13th of September, as we were saying, that amendment came through. So there is absolutely no alcohol to be consumed by a minor within a licensed venue in the state of Victoria.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing. I mean, community standards have changed now in regards to alcohol consumption. And I know, and you would be aware of this too, Mick, working so many reception venues, particularly for formals.
Oh, absolutely.
So the kids would sort of, have their drink with a meal with their parent. But the problem was the meals would last 3 hours because you've got, entree, main, dessert.
That's right.
Of course, by the end of the night, there was a few kids that were inebriated. So I think it's a positive step in the right direction.
Good step forward.
And I guess in regards to the supply of alcohol to a minor and the conditions now sort of that they're looking at to implement in regards to responsible supervision. I mean, when I do the assessments anyway, part of that is to ensure there's heaps of food. Obviously, food's a vital part of...
So at the private function, I did a function the other day, and it was a 21st birthday actually. And the children forgot to eat food.
Wow.
And by the end of the night, it was a bit untidy.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Trying to get across it, they should be consuming some food to help digest that alcohol.
Yeah, and what do they call it? Stoshy food. So, your potatoes, your breads and all that sort of stuff. And also, it's about time because for the longest time with the supply legislation, it didn't actually include responsible serving of managed alcohol. So the lazy parents, what they were doing in regards to supply is, yes, they were getting that note from the parent's kid when they rocked up to the party, but they showed no duty of care at the party, so the kid could absolutely get wasted. But that's okay because they got a note.
Some of the considerations for this responsible adult at a party, obviously, the adult who's responsible not being intoxicated themselves.
Correct.
Minor detail, I'm sure.
Minor detail, but it's funny because on one of my disclaimers, we actually say that the parents are reminded to remain sober because how many events in the past have you worked at where the parents are even more trouble because they've become inebriated?
Oh, look, I've done assessments of parties, and I sit down with a parent. I say, okay, before the party starts, if you've considered that we'll have 20 slabs of alcohol because it's a rather large party, don't get halfway through the party and say, I need another 20 slabs. Yeah. Because that's just...
We need you there.
Yeah, that's right. We discussed it while you weren't intoxicated. Yeah. And now you're thinking that I still want to have a wow of a time and we'll just get double the amount of alcohol. No.
No, it doesn't work like that. And having, obviously, an adequate amount of food, I mean, it's actually great to have, you work out probably a parent ratio, one parent for every 20 kids. That's sort of what we work on. But those parents that are handing out food continually, don't leave it on a table, but hand it out continually. They can be the security's eyes.
Absolutely.
Without being over the top. Because I always say to parents and the young ones is that a good party is actually when you don't see security within, as long as the parents are responsible.
That's right.
And do things like serving food, monitoring toilets, because what happens in toilets, Mick, at these private parties or at any...
Lots of things happen in the toilet. Look, and the other side to it, what type of alcohol is actually being served? Are we serving light beers or are we having, 12-year-old scotch?
Yep.
What alcohol content
is there water available?
Is there water available?
Yeah. And how good is the person running that bar? Because not necessarily do they need an RSA for these private functions, but they definitely need the knowledge of service of alcohol, because otherwise there's no point, is there? If you have someone that hasn't got a clue, because I would say running the bar is as tough a job as running the front door of a venue or the party.
Absolutely.
So if you haven't got someone that's, obviously experienced enough to turn people away when they've had too many, then that's when you should consider having a professional bar person.
So look, okay, how about, don't have a beer right now. Have a coffee, have a water, have a Coke, have a lemonade, have something else. Give it 5 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. And we've talked about this before, but having the water system or a dry spell within that bar
absolutely
is so important, and it can change the whole dynamic of a party, can't it? I see a shift with the water system that we put in at our private events. We see a shift in the way people act at the end of the night. It's more civilised. They actually drink more non-alcoholic drinks. But I think that having a managed system is also providing that duty of care in regards to the security staff and whatever emergency services need to respond, or catering staff that are there. Because obviously at the end of the day, those staff members need to respond if there's a situation.
That's right.
Now, what I think may happen is, because as I said before, the BYO is not covered in this legislation. And sadly, what may happen is the lazy parents that abuse the supply law may go down the BYO level, but they'll still employ security. So I guess the message to security providers is just be very careful what your staff are assigned to.
That's
because
right.
they're going to want the staff to come in
That's right.
when everyone's drunk
and
break up and then get a busted nose. And then we have to explain that to work cover.
That's right. So, I mean, the other third point about this change in legislation is the delivery of alcohol.
Yep.
And as I was discussing in the research, this coming up, I was saying, oh, gee, it's been a while since I've actually seen a delivery of alcohol. And I actually said, well, when I was 14 years old, I used to actually be in the van delivering the alcohol as a 14-year-old. That was a long time ago. But,
a couple of years ago.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
So, now it's responsible that if there's a delivery of alcohol to a premises, the person receiving the alcohol must be 18 years old.
Yeah, but I
but they must see a lawful document proving their age.
Yeah, which is your proof of age or your passport. But I just can't believe I said to you earlier that it wasn't something that was included in the legislation.
No, that's right.
It really surprises me.
Gobsmacked. But hey, why not? You know, especially as I was discussing with the research, we get the Coles online, and in Victoria you can do online shopping, and part of that is actually alcohol.
Yeah.
And get it delivered. So, which I really hadn't thought about.
Do you think security providers should be asking more questions into the management of alcohol when they assign staff? Because I get that feedback from other staff members that obviously work for other companies, and there's no drama with that. But one of the topical things that comes up is that the amount of jobs that they're assigned to where they have no idea about the management of alcohol. Do you think it's something that their security providers are looking at more?
They should.
Yeah.
I think there are some providers that don't really care. But I think they really should be looking at, what is the requirement of the function? What is the requirement of, in regards to the change of the law? Are we complying with the law? Are we doing socially what's right? Yeah,
yeah. And I've got a fairly big function coming up this weekend where it's probably 130 kids, and parents have done the right thing. They've got a managed bar. It's all supply, obviously. So, obviously when the kids rock up, staff will be asking for either proof of age or a note with ID because, obviously to verify that we have the right people coming to the party. But part of that whole setup is also, those responsible adults that are sober. I think they've got...
Well, now they're required to be sober.
Correct, which is a great thing. And as I said, having that managed bar with no glass and that sort of thing. But I think, I think a lot of parents these days are understanding that, this is not just about their child at the party. This is about the other 99 kids that are coming there. And those parents that are allowing their kids to come to those events are entrusting that parent.
That's right.
To ensure they provide that duty of care and those kids actually get home.
Yes, that's
and we'll talk about duty of care in the next episode, but that duty of care finishes after the question has been asked when these kids leave. How are you getting home? Look,
I put across if I'm doing a private function that, okay, the party will run to, we'll say, midnight.
Yeah.
Okay, well, staff are staying on till the very last person is actually picked up.
Yeah.
Because there's no good leaving with, 10 young girls in a street waiting for a taxi.
Correct.
Okay, so security staff don't leave until every person is actually being picked up or accounted for.
Yeah, and it's and that's right. And even if you have those 10 people out in the street, the security have done the right thing by asking how they're getting home, trying to sort of minimise people walking home on their own and that sort of thing,
or
keep
annoying
off
the neighbours.
Street and And if you decide to hire professional security, you need to obviously have them finish. Then at least assign parents out the front to make sure that there's, obviously the kids are okay and they are in fact getting in an Uber, or if it's a 21st, they're not actually driving.
Or who's
drunk.
actually staying the night.
Yeah.
So they've had a great time and they're staying.
Yeah.
Or these ones leaving.
Exactly. So if you have any questions in regards to this discussion, or you would like to talk about any other situations, please email
Contact us
via Don't Risk It TV, and we'll talk to you next episode.
Okay. Thanks for watching.
Thanks again. Bye.
Don't forget to subscribe.